Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Watch Me Wrench with your host, Mr. Wrench. Okay, so what am I doing? Okay, well, we're getting ready to go to the racetrack now that we finally got a trailer. So I've been going over the car and kind of giving it a tune-up. Number one, I changed the oil. Number two, I pumped out all of the, for the summer I was running 93 octane, so I pumped out the 93 octane and I put in a little bit of E85 and then a 5-gallon jug of VP Racing Fuel X85. I pumped out the meth that was in there and I put in fresh VP Racing Fuel M1 in there. The clutch fluid was black and had some moisture. If you would open this, you could see some droplets of water in there. So I flushed it out and I put fresh fluid in there. So in regards to fluids, I did the oil, the fuel, the meth, and fresh clutch fluid. I also changed the spark plugs, put in fresh spark plugs. I'm glad I checked the spark plugs because I wound up changing 2 coil packs on that side. The one in the rear, and I changed that one because I don't know why, but it was coated in oil. I don't know if there's any type of liquid in there, or it's supposed to be, but it was wet. So I don't know if that was like oil that splashed from something else, but it was pretty sticky and slimy. It had some type of oily substance on it. So I changed it, and then I changed the second one on the passenger side because when you looked inside, when you pulled off the spark plug boot and you looked inside, it was all rusted. Now all the spark plugs looked great, but the one in the back, which is the one that had the coil pack that was oily, let me go to the bench and I'll show you the spark plugs. Okay, so I wound up changing all the spark plugs, and here they all are. This is also the order they came out of the car in. And as you can see, they're in really good shape. There's no oil, no extra fuel on there. The ceramic insulator, which is the white part right there, it's nice and white on all of them. However, when I took out the last one, as you can see, the ceramic insulator is like gray or brown. See, this one's bright white and that one's gray or brown. A lot of people can determine how well their engine is running just by looking at the ceramic insulator, but I'm not one of them. I tried to look it up, and many different sites said that the white is good and others said the white is bad, if the ceramic insulator is white. But I know the engine's running well. So this one's just a little bit, got a different shade, it's gray. So what happened was this coil pack had a lot of, I don't know, it was all oily. Normally I have the coil covers over here so I don't see them. So this one was all oily. I don't know why. I know back in the days, like, you'd have the MSD coil mounted up here, and if it got oily, that was a bad sign, so you'd replace it. So anyway, I wound up changing this one. This is the one where the spark plug was gray. The ceramic insulator was gray. So I changed this one, and then I also changed this one. This one, when you took the spark plug out and you looked inside, was all rusty. And the car was, the last month, the car would take a long time to start sometimes. You'd push the key and it would take maybe 10 seconds before it would fire. It would just keep turning. So after I changed them, and put the fresh plugs, she fires right back up. So it looks like perhaps we had 1 or 2 bad coils. So also what I did was I put some DEI heat sleeve protectant around the fuel lines over there. Right there where you have that Y intersection, there's that black anodized aluminum block for the fuel line, and that gets really hot because it hovers right over the header. So for the drag strip, I'll just keep everything covered. It's not going to hurt. It's not going to do any damage. So that's basically it. So I did the oil, the fuel, the meth, the clutch fluid, spark plugs, replaced 2 coils, and put some DEI heat protectant sleeves over the fuel lines over there. So that's basically it. She's firing right up. She sounds nice and crisp. So we're ready to go. All right. Next video, probably have this thing on the trailer and on our way to the track. All right, I'll be back. We are getting ready to go over the Frogs Neck Bridge into the Bronx. We are on our way to Atco Raceway in New Jersey. And this is like a dream come true. A very emotional moment. I'm just kidding. But damn, like 4 or 5 years working on this car. Always wondering what's it going to do at the track, and we're finally going to find out. With my luck, we'll probably brake on the first burnout. What did I tell you? Right into hell. 1.5-hour delay just to cross the Cross Bronx Expressway. It's only like 5-6 miles long. 1.5-hour delay. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are on the New Jersey Turnpike going south. It's 5:16. It was almost 2-hour delay to cross the Cross Bronx Expressway and the George Washington Bridge. Absolute insanity. We should be there around 6:30 according to the GPS. And it's smooth sailing at this part, finally. We made it, ladies and gentlemen. We made it. Oh my God, 4.5 hours to go 120 miles. Unbelievable. We are here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go get teched in. I don't know how I'm going to get video, if I'm going to get any video at all. I did bring the GoPro. So let me get teched in and I'll be back. Alright guys, so here we are in my garage. Went to Atco Dragway. And I made 4 passes. The car did well. It was 2 issues, nothing major. So it was my very first time at the drag strip with the Corvette, and this was literally the first 4 passes the car ever made at the drag strip. Now, as you guys know, I've literally had that car apart. I've had every nut and bolt out. The only thing that I haven't taken out is basically the short block. So the top half of the motor, everything in the engine compartment's been out. Torque tube, differential transmission, rear suspension, steering, fuel tanks. I mean, I've had everything out. So my very first pass, I was not going to go all out and try to be some type of hero. So my first pass was, I guess you could call it a shakedown pass. I just wanted to make sure the car tracked true and straight and nothing fell off. So I made my first pass and had no issues. So I guess we'll go over these numbers. So I'm number 1000. That's the number they gave my car. So I wasn't concerned with reaction time at all that day. I was just focusing on the car. So my 60 foot from my very first pass was a 2.0. That was, basically leaving at idle and just rolling out. Then my 330 was 5.3 seconds. My 8th mile was 7.8. And my mile per hour at the 8th was 97.7. And then my 1,000-foot time was a 9.9. And that's basically when I got off the gas at the 1,000-foot. And then I rolled to a pretty easy 11.6. Not bad. And my mile per hour was 130.42. So not bad. First successful shakedown pass. Alright, so I don't have any video of my first pass. It was totally chaotic. I got there late. There was so much traffic, so there's no video of my first pass. But I have video of my second pass. So let's take a look at that time slip. And then I'll show you the video. Here is my second time slip. Second run was at 8:36 p.m. My first run was at 8:02 p.m. So let's take a look. Again, car number 1000. Reaction time 1.2. Again, I didn't care about reaction time, I was just focusing on the car. So my 60 foot was a 2.1, where previously I did a 2.0. I tried to leave harder, and the car immediately spun and got bad wheel hop. So I had to feather it. Then my 330 time was a 5.2. My 8th mile time was a 7.6 at 101.6 miles per hour. My 1,000-foot time was a 9.6. And I did 11.2 on my second pass. But check this out, ladies and gentlemen. Check this out. Look at that mile per hour. Oh my goodness. This clearly tells you the car has a 9-second pass in it. 141 miles per hour. I have video of this run, so you'll see I'm racing a silver ZL6. He's naturally aspirated. I think he makes like 600 wheel horsepower. Now this guy could leave the line. His name is Pat. He could leave the line like an absolute animal. He also has over 600 passes, so he knows how to launch his car. And I believe he was, or is, still the fastest naturally aspirated C6 ZL6 in the country. So he did a 10.4 versus my 11.2. His mile per hour was 128 versus my 141. Now, this is where, so I had some wheel hop and spinning the tires. That was issue number one. When I went to do my burnout, I was faced with like my first big issue, not a really big issue, but you'll see in the video. So I disengage the traction control. I then go through the water box, roll through, and then I try to do my first burnout. Bring the car up, my second burnout. I didn't have an issue the first time on my test pass, my first shakedown pass. So as soon as I started to do the burnout, the car shut off. Somehow the line lock re-engaged the traction control even though I had it off. So it immediately killed the car. This is my third pass. So about 50 minutes later, I was making my third pass. Again, I'm car number 1000. I lined up with the same Silver Z06. So let's take a look at my numbers from my third pass. Reaction time, not bad. 60 foot. All right, a little bit more respectable. 1.79 versus my second pass, which was a 2.1. So I did much better. 330 was a 4.9 versus my second pass, which was a 5.2. Eighth mile was a 7.3 versus my second pass, which was a 7.6. Mile per hour 102.1 versus 101.6 for my second pass. 1,000-foot mark did 9.3 versus a 9.6 for my second pass. So we broke into the tens. Whoopee. Not really happy. So we did a 10.9. But look at this, ladies and gentlemen. 142.39. Ooh. That baby is hauling. There's some online like calculators, track calculators you could use. So I did 142.39. I forget which one I used. And that says, the calculation said that the car is capable of doing a 9.55. Now, I don't think I'll do a 9.55, but 9.7, 9.8, hell yeah, I think that's pretty easily within our grasp. So, I didn't have an issue doing my burnout with the line lock on this pass. However, when I got to the end of the drag strip, all those damn warning lights came back on. Service traction controls, service stability, ABS, all those came back on. So it looks like something's going on with the line lock. It's just freaking the computer out, it looks like. Alright, so enjoy the clip of my third run, and I'll be back.
Okay, now here at Mike Christie's going to be in the winner's circle waiting for you.
so this is my fourth run. Fourth run, I did like 16 minutes later. It was like the final call. So I just ran up there. The car didn't really have much time to cool down. So let's take a look at my numbers. Again, on car number 1000. This time I lined up with a different car. And I did not I did not get any video of this pass, which pisses me off. The memory on the GoPro was full. I was so pissed. And anyway, so let's take a look. So my reaction time was a 0.6. Again, I really didn't care about reaction time. So my 60 foot, this was the best for the day, a 1.70 versus my third run, which was a 1.79. 330 was a 4.6 versus my third run, which was a 4.9. The 8th mile was a 7.0 versus a 7.3 for my third run. My mile per hour was actually down here. I did 100.7, and on my third run I did 102.11. Perhaps I short shifted, or the car was hot. The engine was hot. Now my 1000 foot was a 9.0 versus a 9.3 on my third run. So I got my best ET. I did a 10.72 versus a 10.9 on my third run. And I did 140.14. So it was down 2 miles per hour. So it was down 2 here and 2 miles over here at the 8th. So I probably short shifted, or the car was getting hot. But look at this, my 3 runs. Well, first of all, I literally got consistently faster on every pass. So all of my times pretty much got faster every time. Now, if you look, what's good to note is that the car from the 8th mile to the quarter mile literally picked up 40 miles per hour on every pass. On my second, third, and fourth pass. I'm not going to count the first. That was just a shakedown pass, and I got off at 1,000 feet. So the car picked up literally 40 miles per hour on the big end on my 3 good passes. Not bad. And the mile per hour was, believe it or not, I figured the car was going to do like 141. That was my guess. So I was real happy when I saw the 142. Now, if I could launch this thing, I could see, you know, hitting 145 easily. So that's it. So no clip of my last run. I apologize for that. Let's talk about the 2 issues. Okay, so there she is. She's all wrapped up. It's winterized. Some people are like, why do you put cardboard? Or you don't want to get dust on the wheels? No, it's not that. It's that the brakes are so big on this thing. As soon as you apply them, even after you wash the wheels, if you just go down the block and you hit the brakes, you get so much brake dust. And then I don't want the brake dust getting on the inside of the cover, because then every time you take the cover on and off, you're going to be scratching the car, because the brake dust is just going to collect on the inside of the cover. So there's my drag pack. There's no more track. It's too cold. Everything's shut down. So what were the 2 issues? Well, traction was the issue. And I'm going to chalk that up to my lack of experience at the track. And I contacted Mickey Thompson. I did this after the track. Should have done it before. I started at 20 PSI. Now, yes, I knew that was going to be too high. So my first shakedown pass, I did it at 20. I just wanted to get a feel for the car. So then I lowered it to 18.5, and then I went down to 18 for my third and fourth runs. But she still spun. Now, Mickey Thompson recommends starting at 14 PSI and then going up in half-pound increments. So next time I go to the track, I'll start off at 14 and work my way up. Where my first time at the track, I did the opposite. I went from high to low. So I'm going to start at 14. He said 14 with my bead locks. I don't know if you don't have, if you have regular wheels, non-bead lock wheels. I don't know if you should go down to 14. I'm not an expert, but he said with my single-sided S71 weld bead blocks, I could go down, I could start at 14. So I think tire pressure was the problem. The torque tube tamer brace, I have a little bit of a gap. The hoop is just hovering over the torque tube. So if I tighten that gap, bring that down and close that gap, then the torque tube shouldn't move at all. So for the drag strip, I'm going to have to tighten, for the next time I go to drag strip, I'll have to tighten the torque tube brace. And with the proper air pressure in the tires, I should be able to reduce the wheel hop and the wheel spin that I was getting. Now, as far as the line lock freaking out the traction control, there's nothing I could really do about that. I mean, the only thing I could think of was, get a Holley computer and shut down all that traction control and ABS crap. But you don't want to do that. And I suspected that I was always conscientious that I might have that problem with the line lock, because when I installed the line lock, I was also researching like issues with C6 Corvettes and line locks, and many people had the same complaints posted on the internet, that the line lock would freak out their traction control. But once you shut the car off, all the warnings would go away, and then once you fired it back up, you could see they were all gone. The car would act normal. So I could do burnouts without the line lock and just do them the old-fashioned way, but that puts a lot of strain on the drivetrain. So I guess what I'll do is I'll do my burnouts with the line lock, pull up to the line. Well, before I stage, I'll shut the car off, then turn it back on, so that it kind of resets the computer so that it doesn't freak out. I was also worried when I was running down the track that what if the traction control or the anti-lock brakes try to engage as I'm making this pass at 140 miles per hour. So I was fearful of that. It was one of my concerns. But I guess if I just shut the car off and turn it back on, it should clear the computer. So those were my two issues. That was my experience at the track. I'm proud of the car. It didn't break. And I guess I'm proud of myself because I consistently got faster. And the car, was trapping like a beast, in my opinion. Those are some good mile per hour for a home car. And built by an average Joe. I'm not a mechanic, and I'm not some fabricator. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I apologize for the delay, how long it took me to make this video, but life intervenes. So if you guys could please click the like button and the subscribe button, I'd really appreciate it. It means a lot to a small channel like mine. And hopefully we'll have some more track videos. And now that I have a trailer, we definitely will. All right, guys, thank you and enjoy. Take care.